Today we have an exciting duel between Zay playing Evil and Ish piloting Holy here at Tournament City Games. These two gentlemen went at it with some crazy combos, and today we're going to break down their match. Zay winning the dice roll and going first with Evil. He starts off with Citadel of Galroth and passes his turn. Ish plays Tower of Babel, but Zay doesn't want that on the battlefield, so he uses one of his contradicts to negate and destroy it. Now Ish will use Sorin, drawing a card and discarding Pavana. Next, he'll go for Godfrey, going to 0. He's going to make a huge opening play here, risking going to 0, but Godfrey gets body obstructed. However, he was able to discard Forgotten Coin for Godfrey's cost, allowing him to get his Pavana back. But now he's at 0, and this allows Zay to just drop a Greater Being on turn 2 without any risk. That is completely dangerous for Ish, because now he has a huge body and 5 Imperium of defense that he's going to have to go through. After taking some damage, Ish will draw. This is why you never want to go to 0 if you don't have to, because it allows the opponent to just pop off and do whatever they want without any repercussions. Even if you have 1 or 2 Imperium, there's always the threat of Sleeping Potion or body obstruction, and that alone will just prevent an opponent from taking high risks. Ish spends all of his Imperium here to drop the Angel Pahalia, but unfortunately, it's not enough strength to get over Luxariel with Rush's Pump, so he's going to try to use the effect, but Zay responds with Exodus. That's part of the reason that Luxariel is so powerful. If she goes off, you get to draw a card and have 5 Imperium to defend her on the next turn. One of the strongest ways to play this game is to play a Greater Being and protect it, and Luxariel easily allows you to do that. Further, Zay rallied Bonemac, the Vile Jackal, which vanquishes any soldier it destroys, meaning that when he destroyed the Pahalia, it got vanquished and Ish was not allowed to replenish his Imperium from her effect. So now Ish goes, he starts with Sorin discarding Pavana, and then he plays Dorn to try and resurrect the Pavana. Zay gives the thumb up that it's good, and at least now he has a Pavana that can draw some cards. Now he does a team attack against Bonemac, but Zay uses Rope, and Ish responds with his own Rope to make his team attack stronger, and the attack goes through. This allows Pavana's effect to activate, drawing 1 and replenishing 1 Imperium. Now he passes over to Zay, who still has that Luxariel on the battlefield, and now he's going to use Dark Cube on Ish's Pavana, which is extremely dangerous because he could get Cpasly and shut down Ish's deck, but Ish responds by removing the target with Divine Intervention, returning it to his hand. So basically, any card that targets in this game, if you remove the targeted card from the battlefield, then the original effect would fizzle. So he was able to fizzle out Dark Cube and also keep his Pavana. But now that Zay has Dark Portal on the battlefield, he has enough strength for just his rush to run over Dorn, and that means Luxariel is going to be able to smack Ish directly for a lot of damage. Now it's Ish's turn. He goes for Pavana and Renee and team attacks everything for 15. Just enough. 1 point enough to get over the Luxariel. She gets a token and Pavana gets to draw and replenish 1, and Ish passes back to Zay. Now Zay's going to replenish up to 11 because he has that Citadel of Galroth giving him the +1, and he's going to activate his Dark Portal, it looks like. And Ish responds with Contradict. That is a huge play. It shuts down the Evil engine from going too crazy. Zay wasted 4 of his Imperium to try and do that, but he did have an Arcog in his hand, and that's going to allow him to get over Pavana with just enough damage. That will be 9 damage with Rush's Pump. Further, Zay is going to drop Apple of Eden, sacrificing that token that he got from Luxariel to replenish 2 and draw 2 cards. But that's all he has in his hand, is just simply 2 cards and an Arcog and the Citadel of Galroth, but he does not have his Skeleton Warrior out to get that double draw every turn. Ish is going to go, he's going to use Sorin's effect to draw and discard the Ancient Coin, allowing him to draw another card. He's in pretty good shape here. It looks like he's got a Renee on the field and maybe 5 or 6 cards in his hand. He's going to team attack Arcog for 6, and Zay is going to actually use Arcog's effect instead of pumping, which allows Ish to body obstruct the Arcog effect, and that causes a replay since a soldier was removed from the battlefield during combat, allowing Ish to attack directly for 6 damage. With Rush's Pump, that's only 4 health. Zay's gonna drop the Urzen the Treasure Meister and use his Citadel of Galroth to sacrifice it to try and draw a card, but Ish responds with another Contradict to destroy another one of his structures. He has completely shut down the evil engine so far. By contradicting both of Zay's structures, he is left pretty helpless. He has no draw engine going, and Ish has the way bigger advantage. Now he's going to drop Zagkiel, targeting Urzen, but it gets Exodus, and that allows at least the Rene to run over the Urzen, which is very unfortunate, but Zay uses Arcog to keep it alive, which is a very smart move, because if he's able to draw a soldier, then he can use Urzen's effect to draw 2 more cards on his following turn. He uses Cursed Mirror to duplicate Rene, and then he's going to attack her with the mirror and then use Chains of Destruction to destroy her. Now he's going to attempt to sacrifice both Urzen and his token to draw 2 cards. It's a desperation move because he'll have no soldiers to defend himself, but he does need some fresh draws to try and put something together to get over that Zagkiel. He vanquishes his Urzen for 4 Imperium, bringing out Karner, and Karner will spend 1 to get out Skeleton, so at least he has some weenies to defend his health points. That's when Ish draws for turn, drops the Spirit Wolf, and now he's going to start adding some Spirit Wolves to the battlefield to get over all of the weenies so that his Zagkiel can attack direct. But he drops Seance, which is going to bring out one of the strongest soldiers in his deck. He's going to bring out Dorn, when Dorn will allow him to resurrect Pavana to get him draws. So Ish is really popping off here, has a monstrous advantage, and it doesn't really appear that there's any way Zay can recover from this. Losing his structures was brutal, and now he's getting completely swarmed. I think the only card he could top deck is maybe Rage of the True King, but I don't even know if he runs it, so he draws his last card and then he scoops. Game 1 going to Ish. Now we're going to go over to Game 2, both players shuffle and cut each other's decks. Zay is going to start, obviously. In Demon Rush, it is definitely better to go first whenever you have the option to do so. This is a pressure game, and going first just allows you to apply a little bit more pressure than the opponent. Zay's going to start off with Cemetery Hunter and then use Apple of Eden to sacrifice it, draw 2 cards, and replenish back his 2 Imperium. Apple of Eden is easily one of the best cards in the game. It's an absolute must for Evil. You can run it in literally any Evil deck. It's great as both offense and defense. Zay is going to start with Arcog and end his turn. Just a strong opening play for Evil is just playing Arcog and defending it. Ish will draw for turn and he will play Church of Dominus, but Zay will not allow that, playing Contradict, and Ish responds with Divine Intervention for free now because Church was on the field to return it to his hand and play it again, dropping down to 2 Imperium. You'll see that these players will fight for that Church. Evil will do anything to remove it and Holy will do anything to keep it. Church of Dominus makes the Holy deck go Super Saiyan, and you cannot let your opponent have it on the battlefield if possible. But Ish makes a very dangerous play here, going to 0 to rally Godfrey and activate his effect, discarding Body Obstruction to try to go to full, but Godfrey gets Body Obstructed. So basically Ish just lost a Godfrey and a Body Obstruction for just a Body Obstruction. He took a minus and he's at 0, allowing Zay to just do whatever he wants on his turn. He's going to play Philosopher's Stone, which allows him to reveal the top 5 cards of his deck, add 1 to his hand, and replace the rest to the top of his deck in any order. And then he uses Lightning Blast to finally get rid of that Church of Dominus before passing his turn. Ish draws for turn, and now he's under quite a bit of pressure from Arcog with defense. He's going to spend all of his Imperium here to rally Pahalia. Pahalia cannot get over Arcog, so he's going to have to try and use the effect to replenish some Imperium so that he can play a spell. Zay lets the Imperium go through and just simply blocks the attack, and Ish will use Body Obstruction on the Arcog, to which Zay responds with Amulet, sacrificing the Arcog, and that allows him to return Apple of Eden to his hand. So a very tricky way to use Amulet is when your opponent uses defense on one of your soldiers to kill it, you Apple it and get a powerful spell back to your hand, so you're actually winning the trade for quite a big advantage. But since Body Obstruction killed Arcog, that causes a replay, and Zay was hit in the face for a lot of damage. Now Zay's turn, he's going to drop both Bone Mac and Urzen the Treasure Meister Not enough damage to get over Pahalia. He is just 1 point of damage away. So he's going to have to go for vanquishing that Spirit Wolf, which is still very strong. It shuts down the triple wolf. It basically makes them near useless, and wolves are a very big threat. Just getting rid of one Spirit Wolf is a massive play. And now Zay is going to use Apple of Eden on his Urzen the Treasure Meister to draw 2 cards. Not the optimal target, but the best he can do right now. He's going to spend 5 Imperium to play Dark Portal, and then he's going to vanquish his Cemetery Hunter to go back to 4 Imperium, so he has enough Imperium to defend his Bone Mac on his opponent's turn. But Pahalia can just simply run over it. He does have an Arcog to protect it as well, though. Let's see what Ish does. He goes for Sorin Effect, discarding Ancient Coin to get some more advantage. And now he is going to rally his Spirit Wolf and attempt to search for the 3rd. Deck thinning and adding cards to your hand, always a good thing. He uses his Pahalia to attack Bone Mac, but Zay has the Arcog to defend it. That's why Zay allowed himself to take the Pahalia hit to the face. Even though it's a lot of damage, having that Arcog in the cemetery to protect your soldiers is a huge deal for later on in the game, and it's game winning, in fact. But Ish is going to rally a 10-drop. He's going to spend all of his Imperium on Yamura, the Eternal Phoenix, going to 0, which is quite dangerous, but it's enough to get over Bone Mac, which is probably even more dangerous. With that, Ish is going to end his turn, and Zay is going to use Dark Portal to bring out an Urzen the Treasure Meister. Then he's going to rally Cemetery Hunter from his hand, and with the Dark Portal out, he has about 9 total damage. It's not enough to get over Yamura or Pahalia, but he can get rid of Wolf and then sacrifice both to draw 2 cards. He puts them in the wrong pile there. It's a good thing he caught that. And then he's going to take a look at Ish's Cemetery because he's trying to figure out what defense cards has Ish used, what kind of cards it might be in his hand that I may be up against, because I need to make a big play right here to get rid of especially Yamura. He's really the biggest threat. And he's going to go for Cursed Mirror on Yamura, which is just a disgusting play because it only costs 5 Imperium. That allows him to use Yamura's effect as well to resurrect a soldier. And he's going to go for Godfrey, allowing him to use Godfrey's effect and replenishing the Fool. This is an insane play. First, he's going to attack over the Yamura. Then he's going to activate Godfrey, discarding his extra Dark Portal, just some junk sitting in his hand he doesn't need. He goes to full and is able to drop Arcog now to protect his Yamura. What a play by Zay. That is just terrifying. A Yamura that can resurrect a huge soldier every turn and an Arcog to protect it. That is extremely dangerous. Ish is going to go for Dorn after Sorin, trying to get some sort of power card, but Zay had body for it. And with that Arcog on the battlefield, he can protect his Yamura. But Ish thankfully has an Exodus to remove the Arcog and get over the Yamura, because if that Yamura stayed out, it was pretty much game over. He's going to activate Pahalia to replenish to 4, end his turn. Arcog will come back to the battlefield, but he has no effect anymore. Zay's going to play Karner right off the top of his deck and use the effect, but it gets Exodus. I don't think Karner was really the biggest threat because now Zay's going to use Dark Portal to get out in Ravana the Black Priest. That will give him just enough damage, 14 damage, to get over that Pahalia, and Ish is left with nothing. And with that, Ish scoops, and we go to game 3. He's going to draw for turn and start right off with Church of Dominus, to which Zay immediately responds with Lightning Blast, trying to destroy it, and it appears that it goes through. As I stated before, you cannot let holy players keep out Church of Dominus. You will get run over very quickly. Now Ish is going to use Prayer Beads to replenish 1 and draw 1 card. But instead of activating Jacob's effect, he decides to go for Renee, the Spirit Maiden, to start building a wall. In Zay's draw phase, he activates another Prayer Beads to go up to 3, and Zay will rally Cipasli, trying to kill the Jacob, but Ish uses those 3 Imperium that he saved to Exodus the Cipasli and keep his Jacob alive. So it was actually a very strong play there. He was able to keep his Jacob alive, and if you're able to do that, you will usually win with Holy. So he activates Jacob for 3, but Zay responds with Sleeping Potion. He can't allow Ish to get his Church back or some defense, but Ish has a Contradict for the sleeping that allows him to get his Church back. He's going to play the Church for 4, dropping down to 1, and team attacking to run over Cipasli, which Zay incorrectly puts in the Vanquish pile, but that's okay. He's going to end his turn there, and Zay just goes for it, dropping Luxariel, and it goes off. he draws a card and replenishes 5 Imperium, devastating that Ish had no response for that, no divine intervention, no sleeping, and that allows Luxariel to run over Jacob, and now it's back to Ish. Ish uses Sorin, discarding Godfrey, and now he's going to rally Spirit Wolf for only 1 Imperium, using his effect to search. He's going to rally another Spirit Wolf for 1, searching the 3rd one. And then he decides to rally the 3rd Spirit Wolf. This will give him enough damage to run over Luxariel, but Zay spends his 5 Imperium to Chains of Destruction the Church mid-combat attack, which would resolve first and lower the strength of all of his soldiers, making all of his soldiers literally crash into Luxariel and die, with the exception of Renee, because she could keep herself alive. But Ish responds by exodusing one of his own wolves here in order to cause a replay, because in Demon Rush, if during combat a soldier is removed from the battlefield, it causes a replay or a re-attack. So that kept his soldiers alive, but he has to pass turn, and Zay uses Dark Cube on Renee to get out Arcog from his deck. And as he tries to attack and destroy the Renee with both of his soldiers, Ish responds by Sleeping Potion one of them to stop its attack, and Zay uses Cosmic Energy, a virtually unseen card that costs 3 and can destroy a soldier on the battlefield, so he's able to actually kill that Renee even through a Sleeping Potion. Ish draws for turn and uses all of his fighters to attack Arcog, in which they will use Arcog effect, and then he uses the last card in his hand, a Ryusei the Divine Griffin, rallies it for 8 and attacks over the Arcog, but he has no hand left, and Zay can pretty much do whatever he wants at this point. First, he's going to start off with Luxariel killing the Ryusei, then he's going to play Citadel, and then Skeleton, which is very terrifying to the Holy player who's already behind in cards, and with Skeleton Citadel combo, you get to draw 2 cards a turn, essentially. Like, it just makes Evil draw 2 cards every turn instead of 1 with that combination. And with that draw, he draws Ravana, who can attack a wolf and then use her effect to kill the last wolf, just completely wiping out the field of Ish. He's going to draw for turn, activate Sorin as a Hail Mary to see if he can draw anything. He doesn't get it, he just had Body and Renee. That's the game. Winner, Zay and his Evil deck.